The world tells you to go out, be loud, be seen. But what if staying home was not weakness, but strategy? While others chase noise, you build silence. While others seek approval, you sharpen your mind. What if the real upgrade in your life is not outside, but inside your own room? Listen carefully, because staying home might be the most dangerous habit you've never mastered. Here are 10 benefits of staying at home, not as escape, but as discipline. 1. Clarity of mind. Away from constant noise, the mind begins to hear itself. There was a time when silence felt uncomfortable. Every spare moment was filled with scrolling, notifications, videos, opinions, and endless information. The world never stopped talking, and neither did his mind. He woke up to alarms and messages. He slept with a phone in his hand. And somewhere between trends, news, and expectations, he lost the sound of his own thoughts. This is the problem of our time. We are more connected than ever, yet more mentally exhausted than ever. Our attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions. We consume opinions faster than we can process them. We chase productivity, validation, and distraction until our minds feel crowded, restless, and numb. When confusion becomes normal, clarity feels impossible. He felt it too. He felt overwhelmed, but couldn't explain why. He felt busy but unfulfilled. He felt informed but disconnected from himself. Deep down, he sensed that something was wrong, not with the world, but with the way he was living in it. Then he made a quiet decision. He stepped back from the noise. Not completely, but intentionally. This became his solution. He created moments of silence in a loud world. He reduced unnecessary input. He stopped reacting to every notification, every opinion, every trend. He allowed himself to think without interruption, to feel without distraction, to question without pressure. At first, it felt strange. The silence exposed thoughts he had been avoiding, doubts, fears, desires, unanswered questions. But slowly, something powerful happened. The fog began to lift. Without constant noise, he started to understand himself again. He recognized what truly mattered and what never did. He stopped living on autopilot and started living with intention. Clarity replaced chaos. Here is the hope. You are not lost, you are overloaded. Your mind is not broken, it is overwhelmed. In a world designed to steal your attention, choosing silence is an act of courage. When you step away from constant noise, you reclaim your inner voice. When you slow down, you see clearly. When you disconnect from distractions, you reconnect with purpose. Clarity of mind is not something you find outside. It is something you recover within. He understands now. Silence is not emptiness. It is space. And in that space, the mind remembers who it is. Away from the noise, he doesn't just hear the world less. He hears himself more. And that changes everything. 2. Emotional control. Without external triggers, we learn to govern our reactions. There was a time when every notification, comment, and opinion had the power to shake him. A single message could ruin his mood. A harsh word could replay in his mind for hours. A comparison on social media could quietly erode his confidence. He felt like he wasn't in control of his emotions. His emotions were in control of him. This is the problem of our time. We live in a world designed to provoke reactions. Algorithms reward outrage. News feeds amplify fear. Social platforms thrive on comparison and validation. Every day, we are emotionally pulled, pushed, and triggered by things we barely chose to see. And slowly, we forget that reacting is not the same as responding. He began to notice something painful. Most of his stress didn't come from real danger. It came from constant stimulation. From arguments he didn't need to join. From opinions he didn't need to absorb. From expectations he didn't need to carry. So he made a quiet shift. He reduced external triggers. This became his solution. He stopped giving immediate emotional access to everything around him. He paused before reacting. He learned to breathe before speaking. He questioned his emotions instead of obeying them. When anger rose, he asked, "Is this worth my peace?" When jealousy appeared, he asked, "What insecurity is this revealing?" When fear surfaced, he asked, "Is this real or just noise?" At first, it was difficult. Emotions felt urgent, demanding instant action. But with practice, he discovered a powerful truth. Feelings are signals, not commands. Slowly, emotional control replaced emotional chaos. He no longer exploded over small things. He no longer felt destroyed by criticism. He no longer allowed strangers' opinions to define his worth. Here is the hope. You are not weak because you feel deeply. You are human. But you are powerful when you learn to choose your reactions. Emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings. It means understanding them, questioning them, and guiding them with wisdom. In a world obsessed with instant reactions, the calm mind becomes rare and unstoppable. He understands now. When you control your reactions, you control your life. When you stop being triggered by everything, you start being guided by purpose. When you master your emotions, no external chaos can enslave your inner world. Without external triggers, he didn't become cold, he became free. And in that freedom, he found clarity, strength, and peace that no opinion could take away. 3. Time ownership. Staying home returns something priceless: your time. In a world obsessed with speed, productivity, and constant availability, time has become the most stolen resource of our generation. Notifications pull you in every direction. Deadlines chase you. Social expectations demand your presence everywhere. Slowly, without noticing, your days stop belonging to you. You wake up tired, rush through responsibilities, and fall asleep feeling like life is happening somewhere else. The problem is not that you lack time. The problem is that your time is no longer yours. When you stay home, when you step away from endless noise and external demands, something quiet but powerful happens. You begin to see how much of your life has been spent reacting instead of choosing. You realize how many hours were given to things that didn't matter, to people who drained you, to tasks that never aligned with your purpose. Time ownership begins with awareness. Instead of scrolling mindlessly, you start reading. Instead of chasing validation, you start building skills. Instead of running from silence, you sit with it and discover who you really are. But reclaiming time is not easy. It requires courage to say no, courage to disappoint others, courage to prioritize your growth over constant busyness. Many people fear slowing down because they think stillness means falling behind. Yet the truth is the opposite. Those who control their time control their destiny. The solution is not isolation. It is intention. Create boundaries. Design your day instead of letting it design you. Choose depth over distraction, progress over pressure, meaning over movement. When you own your time, you stop living on autopilot. You stop measuring your worth by how busy you are. You begin to measure it by how aligned you feel with your values and goals. And slowly, hope returns. You realize that your life is not a race you must constantly run. It is a story you are allowed to write. Each hour becomes a brushstroke. Each decision becomes a declaration. My time matters. My life matters. In an era where everyone is overwhelmed, the rarest form of power is not speed, it is control. Control over your attention. Control over your energy. Control over your time. Because the moment you reclaim your time, you don't just change your schedule, you change your future. 4. Freedom from comparison. Social pressure fades. Self-awareness rises. Every day, you scroll through lives that look perfect. Smiles without struggle, success without sacrifice, bodies without flaws, wealth without worry. Slowly, quietly, comparison begins to poison your mind. You start questioning your worth, your pace, your progress, your life. The problem is not that others are doing well. The problem is that you are measuring your life using someone else's highlight reel. In today's world, comparison has become a silent epidemic. Social media algorithms reward perfection, not truth. They show you what people want you to see, not what they actually live. And without realizing it, you begin to feel behind, even when you are growing. Comparison steals joy. It turns gratitude into insecurity. It transforms ambition into anxiety. You wake up feeling pressured to be more, do more, achieve more, not because you truly want it, but because you fear being left behind. You forget that every journey has a different starting point, a different pace, a different purpose. But something changes when you step back. When social pressure fades, self-awareness rises. Away from constant comparison, you begin to hear your own voice again. You start asking deeper questions. What do I really want? What kind of life feels meaningful to me? What success actually aligns with my values, not society's expectations? The solution begins with conscious detachment. Limit what you consume. Question what you admire. Redefine what success means to you. Instead of comparing outcomes, focus on progress. Instead of envying timelines, respect your own rhythm. Instead of chasing approval, build authenticity. True confidence is not built by proving yourself to others. It is built by understanding yourself. When you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You stop shrinking yourself to fit trends. You stop rushing your growth. You stop living in competition with strangers. And in that silence, you discover something rare: peace. Hope returns when you realize that your life is not a race. There is no universal deadline for success, no fixed blueprint for happiness, no single definition of worth. Your journey is valid, even if it looks different. In a world obsessed with external validation, the greatest rebellion is self-acceptance. The moment you free yourself from comparison, you don't just feel lighter, you become stronger, clearer, and more grounded. Because when you stop looking sideways, you finally move forward. And that is when you realize you are never behind. You were simply becoming. 5. Deeper self-knowledge. In solitude, we discover who we are, without performance. In a world that never stops watching, we slowly forget who we are when no one is looking. Every day feels like a stage. We curate our words. We filter our emotions. We shape our identity to fit expectations. The problem is subtle but devastating. We become performers in our own lives. You laugh when you are tired. You agree when you feel resistance. You chase validation instead of truth. Over time, the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be grows wider. And in that gap, confusion is born. You start asking yourself, do I really want this life? Or am I just trying to impress people who don't truly know me? Modern culture rewards noise, speed, and visibility. Silence is seen as weakness. Solitude is misunderstood as loneliness. But the truth is deeper. Without moments of solitude, self-knowledge becomes impossible. When you are constantly surrounded by voices, you cannot hear your own. Solitude exposes what performance hides. At first, it feels uncomfortable. There are no audiences to applaud you, no distractions to numb your thoughts, no masks to protect your ego. And that is precisely where transformation begins. In solitude, you confront your fears instead of escaping them. You recognize patterns you once ignored. You notice the emotions you've been suppressing. You realize that many of your goals were borrowed, not chosen. The solution is not to isolate yourself from the world, but to reclaim moments of intentional solitude. Turn off the noise. Sit with your thoughts. Write, without filters. Reflect without judgment. Ask yourself honest questions. What do I truly value? What drains my energy? What makes me feel alive? These questions are uncomfortable because they demand truth. But they are also liberating because truth is the foundation of authentic growth. As you deepen your self-knowledge, something shifts. You stop living for applause. You stop fearing judgment. You stop chasing identities that were never yours. You begin to act from clarity instead of insecurity. Hope emerges when you realize that you are not lost. You are simply disconnected from yourself. In solitude, you rediscover your inner compass. You understand your strengths without exaggeration and your weaknesses without shame. You learn that you are not defined by trends, opinions, or expectations. You are defined by awareness. And when you truly know yourself, you no longer need to perform. You no longer need to pretend. You no longer need to prove. You simply exist with purpose. Because the deepest form of freedom is not being admired by the world. It is being honest with yourself. And from that honesty, a stronger, calmer, and more authentic version of you is born. 6. Focused growth. While others scroll endlessly, we build skills, habits, and purpose. Every day, millions of people wake up with the same ritual. Unlock the phone, scroll, react, repeat. Minutes disappear. Hours vanish. Dreams are postponed. The problem is not laziness. It's distraction disguised as entertainment. Modern life is designed to steal attention. Algorithms feed emotions. Notifications interrupt focus. Trends change faster than identity. Slowly, without realizing it, people trade their potential for dopamine. You feel busy, but not productive. You feel connected, but not fulfilled. You feel informed, but not transformed. And deep inside, there is a quiet frustration. I know I'm capable of more, but I'm stuck. Focused growth begins the moment you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. It is not about becoming perfect overnight. It is about choosing progress over comfort. While others chase viral moments, you invest in invisible habits. While others seek approval, you seek mastery. While others escape reality, you confront it. The truth is harsh but empowering. Skills are built in silence, not in scrolling. Without focus, talent fades. Without discipline, motivation dies. Without purpose, effort becomes meaningless. The solution is not extreme productivity. It is conscious direction. Start small. Limit distractions. Replace endless scrolling with deliberate practice. 10 minutes of focused learning every day is more powerful than hours of mindless consumption. One habit repeated consistently can reshape your identity. One clear goal can transform confusion into momentum. Focused growth also requires courage. Courage to be misunderstood. Courage to move slowly when others move fast. Courage to invest in long-term results in a world addicted to instant gratification. At first, it feels lonely. People may not understand why you say no more often. They may not see your progress because real growth is invisible before it becomes undeniable. But over time, something changes. Your mind becomes sharper. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. Your life begins to align with your values instead of trends. Hope is born when you realize that you are not behind, you are simply distracted. Focused growth proves that transformation is not reserved for the gifted or lucky. It is reserved for the consistent, the patient, the disciplined. You don't need more time. You need clearer priorities. 7. Financial discipline. Less spending, more intentional choices. In today's world, spending money has never been easier, and saving it has never felt harder. One click, one swipe, one impulsive decision, and suddenly, your hard-earned money is gone. The problem is not that people don't work hard. The problem is that modern life constantly tempts us to spend without thinking. Social media glamorizes luxury. Advertisements whisper, "You deserve this." Friends unknowingly pressure us to keep up. So we buy things we don't need to impress people we don't know. With money we barely have. Behind the smiles and online posts, many people live with silent anxiety. Bills piling up, savings shrinking, dreams delayed. Financial stress doesn't just affect the wallet, it affects the mind. It steals peace. It creates fear. It traps people in survival mode. But financial discipline is not about deprivation. It is about freedom. It begins with awareness. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" you ask, "Does this align with my future?" Instead of reacting to cravings, you pause, reflect, and choose intentionally. The solution is not extreme frugality. It is conscious control. Track your spending. Create simple boundaries. Prioritize needs over impulses. Small decisions matter more than dramatic changes. Choosing to save a little today can protect you from desperation tomorrow. Choosing to invest in skills instead of status can multiply your opportunities. Choosing patience over pleasure can rewrite your financial destiny. Financial discipline also requires emotional strength. You must resist the urge to compare. You must accept that progress is often invisible. You must understand that real wealth is built quietly. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You say no when others say yes. You delay gratification when others indulge. But slowly, something shifts. You feel lighter. You feel more in control. You feel less afraid of the future. Hope emerges when you realize that money no longer controls you. You control it. Financial discipline transforms anxiety into confidence. It turns chaos into clarity. It turns dreams into plans. You begin to see money not as something to spend impulsively, but as a tool to build the life you truly want. And one day, you will look back and realize it was not a big raise or sudden luck that changed your life. It was the quiet decision to spend less, think deeper, and choose wisely. Because while others chase temporary pleasure, you are building lasting security. And that is the true power of financial discipline. 8. Resilience against loneliness. Solitude becomes strength, not punishment. Loneliness is one of the quietest pains of modern life. Surrounded by people, connected by screens, yet emotionally alone. You can have hundreds of contacts, thousands of followers, and still feel invisible. Conversations feel shallow. Relationships feel conditional. And at night, when the noise fades, a heavy question appears. Does anyone truly understand me? The problem is not that you are broken. The problem is that modern society confuses connection with intimacy. We talk more, but feel less. We share more, but reveal less. We interact constantly, but rarely connect deeply. So when solitude arrives, it feels like rejection. It feels like proof that something is wrong with you. But solitude is not the enemy. It is the mirror. At first, solitude hurts because it exposes emotional dependency. It reveals how much validation we seek, how afraid we are of being alone with our thoughts. Many people escape this discomfort through endless scrolling, unhealthy relationships, or constant distractions. Yet these escapes only deepen the emptiness. Resilience against loneliness begins when you stop running from solitude and start redefining it. Instead of asking, "Why am I alone?" you ask, "What can I learn from this time?" Instead of filling silence with noise, you fill it with awareness. The solution is not isolation, it is intentional solitude. Spend time with yourself without judgment. Reflect instead of reacting. Create instead of consuming. Read, write, walk, think. Not to escape the world, but to understand yourself. Slowly, solitude transforms. What once felt like abandonment becomes clarity. What once felt like emptiness becomes space. What once felt like weakness becomes inner stability. You begin to realize that being alone does not mean being unwanted. It means being independent. Resilience grows when you learn to enjoy your own company. When your happiness no longer depends entirely on others, you stop begging for attention and start attracting genuine connection. Hope appears when you understand that solitude is not a curse. It is preparation. It prepares you to choose relationships wisely, not desperately. It prepares you to love without losing yourself. It prepares you to stand firm even when no one is cheering. One day, you will look back and see that the moments of loneliness were not punishments. They were training. Training for emotional strength. Training for self-awareness. Training for authentic connection. Because the strongest people are not those who never feel lonely, but those who learn to transform loneliness into wisdom. And when solitude becomes your ally instead of your enemy, you realize something powerful. You are never truly alone. You are finally with yourself. 9. Inner stability. External chaos loses power. When the inner world is ordered, the world today feels louder than ever. Breaking news every hour. Conflicts everywhere. Opinions screaming from every screen. One moment you feel hopeful, the next moment anxious. Your mind jumps from fear to anger, from excitement to exhaustion. And slowly, without noticing, the chaos outside begins to live inside you. The problem is not just the world. The problem is that most people let the world control their inner state. A single comment can ruin your mood. A bad headline can steal your peace. A small failure can make you doubt your entire worth. When your inner world depends on external events, you become fragile in a violent environment. But inner stability is not emotional numbness. It is emotional mastery. It is the ability to remain grounded when everything around you is shaking. Most people search for stability outside themselves, in money, relationships, status, or approval. But external stability is temporary. People change. Circumstances shift. Success rises and falls. So when life inevitably breaks what you leaned on, you feel lost. Inner stability begins when you stop outsourcing your peace. Instead of reacting instantly, you pause. Instead of absorbing every emotion, you observe. Instead of letting chaos define you, you define your response. The solution is not escaping reality, it is strengthening your inner structure. Build daily rituals that anchor your mind. Practice reflection instead of impulsive reaction. Train your mind to separate facts from emotions. Ask yourself, what is happening outside? What is happening inside me? This simple awareness creates distance between you and the chaos. Over time, your mind becomes calmer. Your emotions become clearer. Your decisions become wiser. Inner stability also requires discipline. You must limit what you consume mentally. You must choose silence over constant stimulation. You must protect your thoughts like you protect your time. At first, it feels unnatural. You will feel tempted to react, to argue, to panic. But slowly, something shifts. The same events that once shattered you now barely shake you. The same criticism that once wounded you now becomes information, not identity. The same uncertainty that once terrified you now becomes a challenge, not a threat. Hope emerges when you realize that peace is not found, it is built. Built through self-awareness. Built through emotional control. Built through intentional living. When your inner world is ordered, external chaos loses its power over you. The world may remain unpredictable, but you become unbreakable. And one day, in the middle of noise, pressure, and uncertainty, you will notice something extraordinary. While others are drowning in chaos, you are standing calm. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger inside. That is the quiet power of inner stability. 10. Self-mastery. The greatest victory is not being busy, but being in control. In today's world, busyness has become a badge of honor. Notifications demand attention. Deadlines pile up. Meetings, messages, and endless tasks consume every hour. We pride ourselves on how much we can do, how much we can accomplish, and how packed our schedules are. But beneath the surface, chaos grows. The problem is that busyness is not the same as mastery. You can be busy every hour and still feel powerless, exhausted, and unfulfilled. You can move constantly and still drift aimlessly. You can appear productive, yet accomplish little that truly matters. We confuse motion with progress. We confuse reaction with action. And slowly, we surrender control, our priorities, our energy, our life to the endless demands of the world. Self-mastery begins when you reclaim that control. It starts with awareness, noticing where your attention goes and who or what controls it. It begins with pause, resisting the reflex to react to every message, every alert, every distraction. It grows with discipline, choosing what deserves your time, your energy, your focus, and what does not. The solution is not more busyness. The solution is deliberate action. You prioritize what aligns with your values. You say no to tasks, people, and activities that drain you. You create systems, habits, and routines that serve you, not the other way around. At first, it feels uncomfortable. The world will call it laziness, avoidance, or selfishness. Old habits of constant motion die slowly. Your mind will crave distraction. But when you persist, something powerful happens. You gain clarity. You gain energy. You gain freedom. Your actions are no longer reactions. They are intentional steps toward your goals. Hope emerges when you realize that control is a choice, not a circumstance. Even in a world designed to overwhelm you, you can remain centered. Even when others chase chaos, you can move with purpose. Even when external pressures rise, you can remain steady. The greatest victories are invisible. A calm mind in a storm. A deliberate day in a noisy world. A life led by choice rather than circumstance. Self-mastery is not about doing more. It is about controlling what you do. It is about turning busyness into focus, distraction into discipline, and impulse into intention. And one day, when the world is spinning faster than ever, you will stand unshaken, because the greatest victory is not being busy. It is being in control. And slowly, something changes. We stop running from ourselves. We stop drowning in distractions. We begin to feel something rare in modern life: presence. While the world rushes outside, we build a fortress within, because true freedom is not found in constant movement, but in mastery of stillness. Do you feel more powerful when you're alone or surrounded by people? And what does that say about your inner world?